For years now, there's been an outrage only by a certain selective group in Tamil Nadu against lyricist, and it's not short to call him legendary lyricist, Vairamuthu. And now here on India Today, we're carrying forward this campaign where women are speaking out, demanding action against him. He's been accused repeatedly of sexual harassment, and yet he's been someone who's been accommodated by the highest chambers of the film industry and of politics. We've gotten you singer Chinmay Shripada's voice, who's repeatedly spoken out against Vairamuthu and questioned him. Now joining us here on India Today is singer Bhuvana Seshan. She's gone public several times before to talk about how Vairamuthu harassed her, and yet no action has been taken against him. Bhuvana, thank you very much for joining us here on India Today. Vanakkam to you. Can you tell us, Bhuvana, and I know it's extremely painful to recount what would have happened. This is almost 2 decades back. But can you tell us exactly what your experience was like with the legendary lyricist, with Vairamuthu?
Right. First of all, I'm a singer just as an aspiring singer, that's all. Now, because I'm not a known singer now. So, back in 1998, I was young and vibrant and full of dreams. And that's when I was singing here and there, like jingles and stuff. I did some jingles for Whirlpool and stuff like that. That's when another jingle for a textile showroom in Trichy came up, which had Mr. Vairamuthu's lyrics, and he was in charge of the production of the jingle also. So that's when I met him first, and he told me about my voice and my Tamil diction, and I was writing my lyrics in Tamil, so he was impressed by that, and he said, since I have a great voice, I'm going to give your CD to Mr. A.R. Rahman. So naturally, as a young aspiring singer, I was on cloud 9 those days, and I said, okay, fine. I went to Mr. Vairamuthu's office in Kodambakkam, Chennai. The next day, I gave him a CD. And those days, 1998 was the time of landlines, no mobile phone, no social media, nothing. So he used to call on my landline number every day. We used to talk about a lot of things because I'm very fond of Tamil literature. And I come from a family of Tamil literature enthusiasts. So I used to discuss a lot with him, and I mean, there is no denying that, I mean, his caliber in that, there is no denying that. But as time went on, the conversations became a little personal. And I was getting a little uncomfortable, but since I was too young, I didn't even know to identify it and respond to it. But one day he directly asked me, he said he was going to Malaysia for an award function in some Tamil Changam award or something like that. And he asked me if I would be willing to join him. I thought he was calling me for a concert to sing there or even anchor there, because I was reading news back then in Tamil. So I thought maybe he wanted me to anchor or sing. So when I asked him whether you want me to anchor or sing, he said neither, just come with me. And that's when it hit me where the conversations have gone, by the last few days. So I told him, no, I'm not comfortable with this line of conversation at all. And I think we should put an end to talking to each other right now. And he actually tried to lure me, saying, I have the capacity to make you a singer overnight. You can be a star overnight, or you can be a nothing overnight. So I said, if I have to compromise on my values, I'd rather be a nothing overnight than be a singer overnight. That's my choice. And he pulled up a couple of names, which I don't want to mention. And then he said, you don't know how they came up in the industry. I said, I don't care. I'm not sitting on a moral throne here. That's not what I mean. This is my choice. I don't want to compromise my values just to become a huge singer tomorrow. So forget it. I'll walk away from it. Don't call me anymore. But then, of course, he called me a couple of days later to recheck with me, and then he got the message. And subsequently, I was not singing for big films and all that those days. I sang a couple of films, good films actually, good songs actually before that. But then I was only singing, those tiny devotional albums and pop albums and jingles and stuff. Slowly, they were getting cancelled.
So you did feel the impact of your decision.
I did. It took some time for me to understand that, because I never knew something in those days, It was so young, and I come from a very conservative family, so I didn't even know that such things existed. So it took some time for me to understand actually what was happening, and that's when I said, okay, fine, I get the message loud and clear. And coming out in 2018, I would like to make this very, very clear. I had no personal agenda there because I was already a nobody. I was nothing in the industry. I never pursued anything in the industry. I was only singing on stage. I'm still singing on stage and I'm happy with that. I have my set of fans who love my voice and I'm very happy performing for them. So that is there. But when the allegations began to come, 3 women, 4 women, and the social media was full of abuses for the victims.
Hmm.
Because he was a celebrity, because he was a national name, they didn't believe that he was capable of that. That's when I thought I had to step in and say that he is capable of that. So my point in coming out was not to get closure for myself because I knew by then I was not going to get any closure,
Yeah.
but I wanted to substantiate that these young girls who are claiming now, there is definitely something in their allegations because I went through this with Mr. Vairamuthu.
I just want to add here, Bhuvana, that there's really no need for you to really justify or defend yourself. What you have leveled here is extremely serious. And from what you're telling us, this perhaps could have happened with so many other women who, just like you, decided to back off and say, hey, this is where I draw the line. There are about 17 to 18, as you've said, who've spoken out, just like you, who've been brave enough to actually take a stand against Vairamuthu. Because if anyone who's in Chennai, who's grown up in Tamil Nadu, knows how influential he is. And that's very clear right now also in the response. You spoke out. Did you see any action or at least a nod in your direction when you spoke out?
No, no. There were some abuses on social media, but like I said, I had a group of, I have a huge circle of the people who know me and people who love my singing. So they believed me and they were standing by me so I could take all the social media abuses because they were giving me a lot, my friends were giving me a lot of strength. And my son, he was a teenager and he was very courageous. He gave me all the strength to go through it and he kept on telling me, ignore social media. He said, social media is a virtual garbage can, Ma, just forget it. Don't even read the comments. So I was getting support from my son and my friends. So I did not feel much of the pain and as it is I was nothing. But she was banned for 5 years. The last 5 years she has been banned. That's not fair. Pull her up, have a dialogue with whoever is accusing, whoever is throwing allegations. The minimum the industry can do is pull up and have a dialogue, but nobody was even willing to talk to us. That was
Hmm.
what is that saddened me a lot because I could see number of youngsters, young girls who were not able to speak out. I think only 4 of us were willing to come out with our names and faces. The
Yes.
others were anonymous. That was so sad. Those voices are already stifled.
And you can understand that, they must be scared. They must already feel defeated because there are so many high-profile names like Chinmayi who've spoken out and nothing's happened. She's such a popular singer and despite that, no action has been taken. You've spoken out. You have that kind of strength, the moral support that you need to speak out. There are countless women, I'm sure, who don't have that. But does it shock you in a sense, Bhuvana? Is it a reality check of sorts that, despite this, nothing has happened? If we're talking about protection from the film industry, we're talking about protection also from political circles for Vairamuthu.
Everywhere, any industry, if you take it for that matter, any industry, you should have some kind of accountability. It's always the victim that's backing off. Even if she is willing to come out and say something, at some point, she stops herself and says, I'm not able to take this, let me step back. But I'm really surprised and hats off to Chinmay for continuing her fight in spite of so much and in spite of being banned, in spite of her caliber. She has probably sung 4 songs in the last 5 years in Tamil, which is
Let's
very,
get a
very
word in
sad.
from Chinmayi. Bhuvana, just stay with me. Chinmayi Sripada is also with us. Chinmayi, you've been very vocal on this issue. We've had you here on India Today several times where you've spoken out publicly against Vairamuthu. Bhuvana also has spoken out before. So you share a similar ordeal in the sense that both of you have spoken out against Vairamuthu and there's been no action. She's hailed what you've done. She says what you did inspired her also to speak out to ensure so many other women who faced a similar ordeal have the guts to actually come out and take a stand against Vairamuthu. But realistically speaking, Chinmayi, does it make a difference? Countless women, 17, 18, you make it 25, you make it 30. It looks like this man is untouchable.
That's right, because I have been saying this. I think from left to right, whatever the ideologies are, he continues to get a lot of support and a lot of help across the board from a lot of people. That is the kind of clout he's built up over the past several decades, being someone who can wield that amount of power here in, not just in Tamil Nadu, but wherever there is a significant amount of Tamil population across the world. And as we have been debating this, despite all the, the discussions and debates and, all of us speaking on these channels, the government has basically announced a gift of a house to him. One of several. So that has just come out today on the social media circle. So which is why I'm saying it. Either Bhuvana or I, we are not looking really at justice or inquiry or anything like that, because we thought we had these grandiose dreams that perhaps an independent inquiry would be absolutely just would be conducted, but it didn't happen. So at least what I think the least that I ask is not be incarcerated for speaking up. Why in such a hurry to ban me and ruin other people's careers just because we spoke what everybody already knows of. Everybody in Tamil Nadu knows this. It's an open secret. So that's exactly what I'm saying.
Is this a pattern, Chinmayi? Because from what Bhuvana said, she was a young singer, and this was back in the 1990s that she was trying to make it big in the industry, was singing a few songs here and there, and then was completely sidelined. Do you believe that this is an actual trend on the ground, that this legendary lyricist is using his clout to target young singers, even today?
Yes, absolutely. Young, around 16, 17, 18, just about, that's how he, goes about picking his, his victims. That's how it's always worked. Because we are, old enough, but, young enough to not speak out because we are scared. That's generally been how he has worked. That has been his modus operandi. And I have said this also. Most of the women who have spoken up, the first encounter with him has happened when we are barely 18 and we don't have the power or the courage to speak up. And you know how it is. It's very difficult for our families to support us and say, yeah, let's go to the police station and lodge a complaint. And despite an NCW complaint, and despite police coming home and taking a handwritten complaint from me, nothing has gone anywhere, and it won't. That's exactly what I'm saying. It will not against this man, because that is the cloud that he holds.
So you believe nothing's going to change?
Until the cows come home.
You believe nothing's going to change, Chinmayi? In Tamil Nadu, you don't see any politicians taking a stand, any film stars taking a stand against Vairamuthu anytime now?
No, it's not going to happen.
Bhuvana, you wanted to also make a point?
Where is anybody taking a stance against anybody in this country, all over the world in fact? So I'm not looking for a closure here because mine is insignificant. My story is absolutely insignificant, but not her story. I'm saying she was banned for no fault of hers. A minimum dialogue should have happened is what I have always believed in. A minimum dialogue. They could have called her instead of holding an internal meeting and banning her, they could have at least pulled her up and asked her, why are you doing this? At least pull her up and have a dialogue. That is the only thing. And I don't want the young talents and young dreams to be crushed anymore. At least if, after that, if some accountability can be brought into any industry for that matter, I would be very, very happy.
But,
so my
only question is, Bhuvana and Chinmayi to you first, why should we settle for the bare minimum here? Why are we all saying, look, we've come to terms with reality that no action is going to be taken against Vairamuthu? Is that the problem for starters, that we all believe that he's larger than life and so no action can be taken against him, Chinmayi?
But isn't that our lived reality? We have come to terms with it because who is going to be fighting for us on a daily basis? Yeah. Everybody moves on. Everybody has their own battles to, fight. And I have been fighting for my right to work for the past 5 years. The ban against me is incorrigible. Everybody from the industry has just, shut up and watched and done nothing about it while they have continued to platform him for whatever their great reasons are. That's exactly what I'm asking. That here, I think today, nobody actually has a moral upper ground to say that we have stood and done the right thing. Forget Chinmayi, forget Bhuvana Seshan. Forget, all of us who, become sacrificial, lambs in these people's, whatever. All that I'm asking is, why can't at least now, can't there be ICCs and POCSO units in an industry which hires children, which hires people? Why can't systems be in place so that there can be a safe reporting system? But then I'm asking for something because how the man who banned me is also somebody who has cases of harassment and abuse against him. So if I have to go and report to him, about him to him, what is my way out? So basically the wolves are running the show and we are expected to get justice from them. How is it going to happen? It's not going to.
You know
Which
what's
is why
shocking?
it's so
Yeah.
sad.
You know, what's shocking to me is that so many of you have spoken out so publicly. You've put out so many details. Bhuvana, you recounted what's happened with you just minutes ago, and you've repeatedly done it. Despite that, there's no action. This happened to you in 1996. 2023, no action taken, and perhaps this is still happening in the industry.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not in the industry, so I have nothing. I cannot, or nobody has come to me with that, so I cannot say. But then, I cannot say it doesn't happen either. So it happens elsewhere. We read so much. So my point is only that I know I'm not going to get closure, but I want some kind of accountability at large, as a larger picture for the harassment and the victims, the voices of victims. Somewhere there should be some kind of an accountability. Like I said earlier, she was banned, just like that. Nobody even asked her a question. I think she merited that much, having been in the industry and with such caliber. Somebody could have at least pulled her out from the union and asked her what happened. Why
Has
are
that
you
ever
coming out
happened?
with it?
Chinmay, have you ever received any sort of reassurance or any protective hand over you from some of the film stars that you worked with? You worked with some of the biggest names in the southern film industry. And despite that, did you get any support really?
No, not me, but he got it.
He got it rather publicly as well.
Yeah, of course, of course.
I would say the Kerala film industry showed a bit of a difference there when they came and spoke to us when he was nominated for the ONB award. The Kerala film industry spoke to us, and ultimately that ONB award was not conferred on Mr. Vairamuthu. So that was something commendable, and that gave me a lot of strength and more strength and hope that somebody is listening to us.
But you know, it's so brazen in the sense that you think that with these kind of serious allegations, people would at least shy away from publicly and openly supporting him, from having these photo ops with him. Bhuvana and Chinmay, where do you think the buck really stops? Is it with political parties? Is it with the film industry? Who really do you believe should be acting, cracking the whip here? Bhuvana, to you first.
Entire section of people, I would say. See, the moment you start pinning any kind of religious, caste or political affinity to any issue, you will not take a step forward. Mr. Vairamuthu is a big name, socially, politically, nationally, even internationally in the Tamil population. So it is very, very tough to crack that and go through. And I have no evidence to show, not even a phone conversation, because I didn't even have a mobile in '98. So nothing to show. So people are going to ask me for evidence, which is why I shied away from filing anything. Even in the union or with the police, I didn't want to do it because.
But
it's
let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. With what we've seen, even if there's evidence, it doesn't look like it will, translate to any sort of action against Vairamuthu. Chinmay, that question to you finally. Where do you think the buck really stops, or with whom?
With all of us in society, all of us who hold all of these people in such deified forms that we fail to ask them the questions and hold our leaders accountable when they platform such people and continue to vote for the same people time and again.
Very true, and let's hope that, with all of you speaking out in the manner that you have so bravely and boldly, it encourages many others to speak out. And let's hope that actually makes a difference. So far, 18 women, let me repeat that, 18 women have spoken out against Vairamuthu, and it's made no difference whatsoever, as you can see in some of those pictures also that we're showing you right now, from the support that he's received from the highest and the biggest faces in Tamil Nadu, politically and in the film industry. Chinmay, Bhuvana, more strength to you, and we promise here on India Today we'll continue giving you a voice and ensure that it at least translates to some action against Vairamuthu. He's a legendary lyricist. He may have his way with words, but does that mean that there will be no accountability for his actions? That's a question we need to ask ourselves. And how many women, how many singers really in the industry are currently suffering because of a lack of action against this man? Thanks very much, Bhuvana and Chinmay, for joining us. Thank you.